52 yards should be just a nice, comfortable 9-iron for him. They're going to go nuts when he hits this thing.
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Yo, what up, golf bettors? This is your weekly golf gambling club meeting. My name's Joe Idoni. Welcome into the Preferred Lines podcast, a golf gambling podcast where we're going to be covering the premier event of the fall swing, the CJ Cup at Congaree Golf Club, in just a few moments. Before we get into it, must mention our sponsor, Fantasy Points Media Group, proud member of that group. They do tremendous NFL content. The promo code that you're looking for is Lines22 if you want to sign up with, I believe, a 10% off a weekly, monthly, yearly, whatever you want to do over there. NFL season's in full swing. Give them a shout. Here's what's on tap for tonight. I'm going to bring a special guest on. We're going to go over our golf guys of the week. We'll talk a little bit of a course preview, Cliff Notes version of Congaree Golf Club. We will hit the entire odds board top to bottom. 78 players in the field this week for the CJ Cup. Should be a fun one. Looking forward to kind of getting his thoughts on the golf course. I'll give you my best bet of the week. We'll get out of here hopefully in time for the start of this baseball game, if it ever starts. Now, without further ado, writer, contributor for Golf Digest, host of the Be Right Pod, host of the Loop Pod. I got to ask him about this. Get up on the swing on things. Viral sensation, an absolute master of videoing his own television screen and streaming that to the world for their pleasure. Welcome back to Preferred Lines, Chris Powers. What up, dude?
I'm trying not to laugh out loud at that description. That was incredible. I appreciate it.
How does it feel to just clip your TV and get like 2 million views in a couple days?
It's an art. I think people underestimate it. It's timing based. It's got to know, when to clip it, when to end the clip, what time to tweet it out, how to caption it. So, look, it's I'm an artist. What can I say? Viral artist.
What are the benefits of going totally viral? Is it? I know it's not. Like, are you picking up thousands of followers, or do people just watch and give you a like and then they move right on?
It's funny. I had a couple buddies ask me that same question. And with the Brady one, which was 2 weeks ago now, when he kicked Grady Jarrett, and that was a huge one. That did 3 million views, bunch of impressions, not a ton of followers. Then the Costas one happens the other day, and I replied to it and said, hey, throw me a follow. And I think it worked. I got 150 new followers. So I guess you got to get on your knees and beg, even after you've gone viral for the world.
Multiple times gone viral. Now, hopefully we see a little bit of transference into one of the most electric segments on Twitter, the first round leader dart throw. What's the record on the first round leader dart throw? Do we have a winner in the books yet?
No. The thing is, I think it was BMW, whichever one Keegan was the first round leader. I bet 3 guys kind of as a joke, just because I wanted to bet 3 guys. And then I sent out the video, and Steve, my co-host Steve Hennessy, replied, you got to put Keegan on it. I did end up betting Keegan at 1. I don't think that counts as a dart throw, so I didn't count it towards the total. So if you're keeping score, I believe I started it last year in Hawaii. So we're probably talking 30 events. We've had 4 or 5. So we're over 35 right now.
The good news about Twitter is no one really keeps score. And if you're good at picks or whether you're not good at picks, hopefully some new eyeballs on it this week. Let's talk a little bit about last week. I've been doing this new show, Chris. Really pumped about this. Golf Guy of the Week. It is an absolutely prestigious honor that we shall deem upon one player. I'll go first. And I'm going to say Ricky, man. It was just like, all right, I was reluctant on it. I've been waiting. I don't want to pump the gas in it too quickly, but I think we're there. A sixth and a second. He looks much better. Butch says he's on the way. He basically did what, in my opinion, was the only feasible option for him to do, and that's blow it all up and start over. Fire the caddy, fire the coach, scrap everything, and let's start from scratch. And it seems to be working. I saw today PGA Tour tweeted that he is 3 points away from surpassing his FedEx Cup points from all of last season already. I being somewhat sarcastic in nominating him because he didn't win a second place finish, but I feel good about somewhat of a resurgence. I'm not sure if we'll see a victory, but hopefully he's back in like the top 70 players in the world, because we all love to see him there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I know he didn't win, but I'm unbelievably encouraged by the second place finish. I think last year, if he even got into that position, he's shooting like 78, 77, even a few years ago. He's kind of fallen off the face of the earth. So I know it wasn't what Ricky fans wanted, and whatever he shot, even par, obviously not going to get it done on Sunday, but I think it's a really large step forward. And I know we've said, I must have written that exact headline, Ricky takes a big step forward 10 times in the last 2 years. But I do think this is a big one. 2 top 10s in the last 3, like you said, back with Butch. I'm excited for his and it couldn't come at a better time with all the live guys gone for the PGA Tour. If we get a Ricky resurgence, I think the PGA Tour's got to be throwing a party.
I'll be honest, if he makes the resurgence, I will be extremely proud of him, because he basically bet on himself. If there was one guy that I would say was like, God, he's for sure a lock to go to live 6 months ago, it would be Ricky, because he felt like all these other guys where the best moments of his career had passed him. I'm a popular name. I'm going to be one of the most widely searched names, yet I'm not one of the best players anymore. Let me take this easy $100 million so that I show up on their SEOs and whatever else they're interested in, and let me kind of mail it in and play 8 events a year. I'll be super proud of him if he's able to continue this going to get rid of Joe, who's a good friend, obviously a great caddy still, but they just needed to change. Go back to Butch and kind of just stick it out and get his feet in the dirt and just keep going. So
stick it out. Stick it out's the perfect phrase, because you could go into hiding when you go through a slump like this. He was still trying to qualify like local US Open qualifiers. He's still signing every autograph after the round. So I think that's the stuff people don't appreciate about him. He gets made fun of because of all the sponsorships, and he makes a ton of money, and he doesn't even have like a major and only a couple PGA Tour wins. But he faced the music last year for sure, a bunch. So I appreciate that about him. I think you said it perfectly. I'll be very proud of him and thrilled if he resurgence comes to fruition.
You got a nominee? Who's your golf guy of the week?
I'm going to go with this LA Rams punter, Matt Gay, who swapped jerseys with Max Homa at the game. I love it. That's golf needs more of that stuff. I know it wasn't technically a jersey swap. I guess a Travis Matthews polo jersey swap for Max Homa. Love to see Max Homa. I don't know what you call it at NFL stadiums, field side, ring side, whatever. Our guy is absolutely thriving. He's going to LA Rams games, and he's basically on the field, and he's exchanging jerseys with the punter. So good for Max Homa. But Matt Gay, he's obviously a golf guy. They knew who Max was. So Matt Gay is my golf guy of the week.
Big golf guy. Homa's come a long way since getting snubbed on the chicken tendies at Applebee's, right?
Amazing. He was big before then, but he's absolutely blown up since getting denied chicken tenders at the Jacksonville airport.
All right, before we get into the course this week, real quickly, I'm also going to give out another award, Tweet of the Week. I couldn't give it to you, Chris, because I got you on the show, and it wasn't necessarily golf-related, even though deserving. This was my favorite tweet that I saw from the weekend. This guy, I don't even know who this guy is, but this Keegan Bradley putt, oh my God, if you watch the entire 2 minutes of it, it's agonizing. I don't know what we're to do about what's this called again, this method?
Aim point,
yeah. We've got to somehow get a hold on this at local play. Like if I show up and some guy's pulling this on a 4-footer, this is not what we need in golf.
86 and do an aim point. That's no good.
A bad look for the game. I wish he's got to kind of corral this a bit, but this gentleman here went viral, wrote this tweet of Keegan, and it's quite hard to believe. Not only does he step forward, he turns around and does the full walk back. I can't see, Chris, like if I stand on a green, how am I going to tell how the putt's going to break by standing on over a 4-footer like that? It's tough.
Well, that's my favorite. That's one of the things I miss about DJ and Austin on tour is they would do this, and Austin faces backwards and DJ faces forwards, and it always makes for an excellent screenshot. Those two brainiacs kind of going at it on the aim point express, as they call it. So hilarious. It makes for a hilarious image and obviously a hilarious video too.
It's funny how putting can get into people's heads because this is obviously about a 4-foot putt. And especially with DJ and Austin, it was always weird because he's like the fastest guy out of the fairway when there's so many factors to take in from 200 yards. Where's the bunker? What's this cover? What's the green doing? He would just step up and hit it, but he'd be like paralyzed almost over a 10-foot putt. And
I think part of his thinking too is like, I make up all this time, with my iron shots and driver. I'm allowed to take my sweet ass time up on the putting green.
It was sweet ass time. That's for sure. All right. I'm going to give a quick little preview here. Congaree, you chime in at any time if you have anything to add. Par 71, over 7,600 yards. That's long. However, I remembered it playing much shorter. And then when I looked at the data golf stuff, it looked like it averaged around 7,300 yards. I don't know if that's 100% accurate. I know that, the conditions lead it to play a little bit lower than that, but I have a hard time imagining that they tip this thing all the way back to 76.55 on most days. Tom Fazio, masterpiece design, one of his better pieces of work, a billionaire's playground out there in Ridgeland, South Carolina. Bermuda fairways, oil slick Bermuda greens. No rough to speak of. If there was rough, it'd be Bermuda as well, but they have these sandy waste areas and water hazards that sort of frame in nearly every hole. Garrick Higo won in 2021. Key stats I'm looking at for this week. I am going to put in driving distance a little bit. I think that it matters here. And even though the fairways are super wide, right, 50 yards wide, gives the ability for these guys to really take driver without caution and kind of just play bombs away, I think, without rough, without trees. And if you can take driver on every hole and you're one of the longer hitters and you can shorten each and every hole by 5, 10, 15, 20 yards, it becomes highly advantageous over 72 holes. Strokes gain off the tee was sort of corollary to success. Long iron proximity range, sand saves are important here as well. It's very tough course to get up and down out of the tricky bunkers. Bermuda grass putting. I looked at some strokes gain numbers on difficult courses. Given that Higo won this at -11, I expect it to be really firm conditions, which is obviously the way that the PGA Tour achieves their difficulty rating, right? It's not, we've seen it before. It's not through the distance. It's not through the rough. It's through the conditions and the short grass and how firm and quick the green surfaces are. That's about all I got. You got anything to throw in there?
Covered it all. I'm excited. I hope it plays firm and fast, like you said. Hope it plays tough. That 11 under winning score, I mean, that's by PGA Tour, but by PGA Tour standards, that's tough nowadays. I think I was just on Andy's pod. He made some similar good points, and also that this field is a little bit stronger, so we could get into the 14 under, 15 under range. But I'm excited. Back on East Coast time, we're going to have shot link data, a couple less things for everyone to complain about. So I think this is going to be a fun week.
This place is beautiful. It's bougie. It's only people like Stephen Hennessy get the types of people that get to play on this type of course, right?
That's right. He played it 2 years ago, like I want to say a month or two before the tour was there. So he got a nice little preview. He told us about that on the pod this morning as expected. So he's a huge fan. The course looked fun last time. I remember watching a ton of it. So I'm excited to strap in. This is going to be the first week this fall where I'll have an eye on golf and not just straight football.
Totally. All right, let's get to the betting board. Bringing up the odds checker grid here. Big time field. 17 of the top 25 in the world make up the 78 players in this field. Your favorite, Rory McIlroy, is back. Jon Rahm also back. First time we've seen a lot of these guys, especially guys who didn't play the President's Cup like Rahm and Rory, basically since the Tour Championship. So, a good 7-week layoff here. Scotty Scheffler is here as well, coming off a little pickleball tournament at 14-1. JT 16-1. Matty Fitz 25-1, Sungjae 26. I'll stop there, Chris. Is there anyone? It's Monday. You don't feel pressure to make picks, but anything that you've done so far, any guys you like or don't like in this sort of range?
This is a tough one. I'm usually a skip the top of the board guy, but what's been happening recently, the guys at the top of the board are getting it done. I know Keegan was not a top of the board guy, but before that, a couple guys at the top of the board. And I've been betting a bunch of guys at the top, which is unlike me. I bet Sungjae a few weeks ago. Thought he might get it done at Shriners. Obviously, Cantley was right there, and Tom Kim. So it's tough. It's tough to just skip over this part. And he just made a great case for Justin Thomas. I thought Fazio guy who won at Southern Hills, firm and fast conditions kind of play into his wheelhouse.
Yes.
I know we said, we haven't seen him since the Tour Championship, but Rahm did win in Spain and kind of in dominant fashion, if I recall. Rory's played a couple events on the European Tour. So I'd love to say they're rusty, but I don't think they are. So again, it's very hard to skip over these guys. I'm going to do that anyway, and I hope it works out.
Yeah, I have one bet in this range, and I'm going to make it my best bet. Matty Fitz. Check out that pick there. I snagged that from your guys' cover. What an awkward pick there.
Very awkward.
Your boy Danny Rapp's farewell piece there.
Yeah, tough break.
He's looking real weird, but he looks focused.
Yeah.
I've got some confidence in him this week. So 15th in driving distance. That's not normally a stat that you would highlight, but I think that it shows how far that he's come over the last year. I think that he can really kind of open it up, and he's gained a lot of speed with the driver. So I think that the width of the fairways, it's actually going to be an asset for him for the remainder of this season, the driving distance where it's not before. Difficult golf courses, obviously the U.S. Open comes to mind, but there's many other ones that he's played really well through the years. Great putter on Bermuda grass, top 5 in the field, really proficient out of the sand as well, as you see there. 15th, 48th, 5th, recent form, 21st, 6th. Then there's the first at the U.S. Open. He did play this event back when it was the Palmetto in 2021, where he did finish top 10, gained like 5 strokes with the putter that week, was not so great on his iron play, but that's come around a long way. Look, there's a lot of courses like down here, and I know he's a member at Bears Club that I would say is kind of similar to this place in terms of the width off the tee, the sandy waste areas. So I think he should be familiar with it. I think that he plays his best and is most comfortable now at this point living down here in Florida on these Bermuda grass surfaces. I'm going to make Matty Fitz the best bet. What do you think?
I like it. That's a good case. I won't be on it, unfortunately, but yeah.
What's coming down the line here for you? 28-1 Sam Burns. Vic is there. Cam Young is at 30. Tommy Kim is at 30. Homa 31. Best number available. Morikawa 35, Spieth 35, Lowry 35. I'm sorry, Morikawa was 33. What about any of these guys? Anybody got your interest?
I'm starting with Sam Burns. I think I'm going to play the Bermuda angle, the Southern boy angle. Played really well at the President's Cup. I know the record didn't reflect that, but to that I'd say he got unfortunately stuck with Scotty Scheffler, which sounds crazy to say for the world number 1, but he played pretty bad that week. Burns was carrying them. And that was after he had a couple whatever type starts at the end of the year. So I think he refound some form. He'll be on Bermuda. We know the guy can win. He's won at a pretty ridiculous clip over the last year. And I think this is a really good number. I know it's a great field, but you got guys like Sungjae who are red hot, who are getting priced down at 18-1. And the Justin Thomases and the Rorys of the world. So I think this is a really good number for Sam Burns, even though it's a stacked field, but I think the conditions should play into his favor, and he's coming off a pretty strong week at Quail Hollow. And I am going to go to Cam Young. Andy just sold me on him. You also just sold me on him with the driving distance take. I think Cam will be bombing it all over the place here. Also played well at Southern Hills, the Fazio course. So did your boy Matt Fitzpatrick, as we may recall that week. So Cam Young, Sam Burns for me, and then I am going. Technically, he's before these guys. If you're going by DraftKings odds, I am going with our boy Jordan Spieth there at 22-1. Although you can find him 33-1. It looks like.
Is it a President's Cup thing? Like, did you think he really found something there, or what do you look at? Like, where do you think Spieth can kind of like? Is it just a bet on the upside?
It was the putter at the President's Cup for me because that was the thing last year.
Totally.
during his actual slumps a few years ago was, okay, the putter's still there. Can he just figure it out with the irons one week, which obviously is much harder to figure out kind of on a whim. Last year, it was the putter that was kind of holding him back, keeping him from contending a lot. He made everything he saw at Quail Hollow, so maybe he found a little magic with that putter. Similar to Burns, you're getting a great number here on a guy who just played really well at the President's Cup. And then my co-host Steve made a great point on our pod this morning. Where did Spieth's last win come? South Carolina, Bermuda course, RBC Heritage. Got to be creative at that place. I think you'll see. I know you said driving distance is big. I think the Bombers will play well, but I do think up near the greens here, creativity will come into play. Spieth will be fully engaged. So I do like him for this place.
Absolutely. The short game and the putter specifically was fantastic at the President's Cup. You mentioned Burns, who I like a lot, the number one putter in this field on Bermuda grass over the last 36 rounds. And Cam Young's an interesting one. I was almost there. I worry. Here's my only concern. He's so awesome off the tee. He's the best player in the field. I think he's better than Rory off the tee.
Might be.
Is it like mitigated a little bit when you have 50-yard wide fairways, and would you rather see as like distance come into play at a place with 25 or 30-yard fairways? They're 17 yards wider. I just think that a lot of the guys that, when we're talking distance between Rory and Cam and these other guys, it's maybe 5 to 10 yards, which is great, but I think his best asset is that he can hit it 315 and he's straight as a fucking arrow.
Yeah. It's a good point.
Still a good pick, though. I like them both. My guy here, I took Shane Lowry. So I got 35 to 1. I don't know. I'm kind of playing a little bit of a Florida narrative as well. He's always played well in South Carolina. Also at the Heritage is one of his better spots. Also one of Matt Fitzpatrick's favorite spots there. Awesome out of the sand. I have him as the number one player in sand saves in the field. Really good in terms of strokes gained total on difficult scoring conditions. He's top 5. I think I have him 4th here. And he's a good long iron player. So where he does lack a little bit of that pop off the tee, from like 175 to 225 yards, he's one of the better iron players in the field. I am a little bit worried. I'm not sure how many European Tour events he's sort of played, but have seen a little bit of a layoff with him. So that was my sort of only concern, but I felt like the number was decent there at 35 to 1 that warranted a bet. So him and Fitz are my two guys. You got Burns, Young, Spieth, all stacked up there in the high 20s and early 30s.
I think this is probably the section it comes from this week, and you just got to pick 2 or 3 guys and hope you pick the right one.
Yep, you might have got me on Cam Young. I'm close. I was almost there, and then I worried about the off the tee. And then the other part of it is like, sometimes I'm weird, dude, where I see like people early in the morning are like, oh, I got a 35 to 1, and then I see it and it's like 28 to 30, and I'm like, can I really give up those 5 points?
Poisoned.
It is
100%. I'm the same way.
Moving on, Hideki 40 to 1, Tyrrell Hatton's 40 to 1, who was actually awesome here last time around. I think second.
Yes, he was 10 under.
Billy Ho's 45. Keegan is back off a victory, 45 to 1. Aaron Wise, popular pick at 50. Montgomery 50. Connor 65. McNeely 66. Griot 70. I will pause right there. You have those 3 bets sort of in the 30 range. Anyone in this 30 to 60 got your attention?
No, I was going Hatton. Andy sold me on Cam Young. But it'll be tough to lay off Hatton, especially if there's a 40 on the my local book, as people like to call it. If I can get a good number on Hatton, I'll definitely add him. But for now, I'm sticking with those 3. If I had to add somebody, it would be Hatton. Not only because of the finishing second here a few years ago, but been playing well recently. Didn't have the best week at Zozo. I think he finished pretty strong though, 2 under 68 or 69 on Sunday. Worried a little about the flight from Tokyo, guys. That could be interesting. Mm-hmm. We'll see how that goes. Cam Young obviously was playing there, so was Hatton. So that could play a factor. Could not. Who knows? But if it was anybody here, it would be Hatton for me.
Got it. I thought about Aaron Wise. I never really bet him, so I'm not going to when he gets super popular. I've passed on this range completely as well. I got a couple dart throws down here. I'll kind of just open it up over 75-1 to see anyone else that you like. I'll give you mine first. I took Cam Davis 80-1. I'm a sucker for Cam Davis. I will bet him at this number. I think that he's got a breakthrough season coming this year. He's so good in the fact that he's like top 7 in driving distance, and he's also one of like the top 5 wedge players in this field, which I've been harping on for a while. I just think is a really unique skill set that we've seen players like DJ and Brooks in his prime. Really, like if you're a really long off the tee and you're a great wedge player, if you're top 5, top 6 in both of those categories, you're going to find spots on the PGA Tour. You're going to have wins. Also really good putter. So those 3 things kind of go for me. Maybe some Australian sandbelt corollary things here going on with the way this kind of course is designed. And my other guy was at 100-1. He's now at 80, and it's just sort of a flyer on Keith Mitchell. Was surprised and somewhat encouraged about how he played in Vegas. This is kind of his wheelhouse. We're back on Bermuda. He can get a little loose with the driver at times, but he hits it plenty far. So I think this should be a good golf course for him. Those are my 2 bombs. You got Ricky there if you really want to go back. I'm a little worried after the second place in Tokyo, but anyone here that is worth a bet for you, Mr. Powers?
Yes, I think you can't go wrong with Keith Mitchell, those type of guys, the Southern guys, the Bermuda guys. I might be on Keith. You might have sold me on that one. I'm going to Davis Riley at 100-1. This is a guy who was like 40-1 a few weeks ago. I know in weak fields. And now everyone's kind of hopped off because he hasn't really shown anything. He had a really good weekend at Zozo. I think he went 67, 68 on the weekend. So coming in with a little momentum. And now we're getting him at this crazy price. Almost won at Valspar, another Bermuda type course. So I like Riley. I like your Mitchell call. I'm going to have a tough time laying off Sepp Straka because he's been so good these last few starts on Bermuda courses. I know he played great at TPC Southwind, and obviously a couple weeks ago too, wherever that was. It's crazy to see these Harris English numbers, these Webb Simpson numbers. I'm not on either of those guys, but again, you can make a case for those 2. And then I had Trey Mullinax. I think this is a little bit of a Trey Mullinax course. He's down there at 180.
200.
Yeah. So it's Riley, Chris Kirk. Chris Kirk's my other one. I'm just a Chris Kirk addict, and I'll go to him at 150. So Kirk, Mullinax, Davis, Riley, and you might have sold me on Keith Mitchell.
Some big variances here. Another one that I kind of just glanced over and thought about was Willett, just because he played well at the Fortinet. I think that these courses down here, when we see him like at a Honda Classic, like at an Arnold Palmer, like at Augusta, like I think these courses are where he's going to find his most success. It's where he's most comfortable around the greens. Obviously just played well, lives in Jacksonville now, so should be very familiar with the area and sort of the climate and the conditions as well. And he's 140-1 on FanDuel and 300-1 on DraftKings. Like that's a gap right there that you may be able to take advantage of in terms of a top 20, top 40 number. We were supposed to run this podcast live here, Chris, as the Guardians took on the Yankees. We're currently in a rain delay. Give me a take on Game 5. We going to get this thing in tonight, or are we looking at starters back on the mound tomorrow?
Man, that's why I do hope they get it in tonight, because I would imagine you guys go to Bieber tomorrow night. So
have to.
I think the Yankees are probably pushing very hard for this game to go tonight. They've got Jamison Tyone on the mound. Cleveland's got to bullpen it. So I'm sure they're going to wait this thing out as long as they can. I'm sure the Guardians are saying, hey, we'll play tomorrow. All good with us. So, but either way, now you got to go to Houston Wednesday night, whichever team. Your bullpen's going to be shot. Your aces are going to be shot. So we'll see. I hope it gets in tonight. I have no idea what's going to happen. That's kind of the beauty of an elimination game. Yankees are obviously favored, but if you go down, that Stephen Kwan dude who never swings and misses, if he gets on base, they make some fireworks happen in the first inning. Suddenly we're down 2-0, and I'm ready to crawl into a hole and die. So excited though, elimination game. That's what it's all about.
Elimination game. Hopefully we get it in tonight. Glad I didn't have to like ruin like 4 innings for you while we do this. But I appreciate you, man. Anything else? What else you got going on this week that people can check out?
Just check out the pod. It is the Loop podcast now. Unfortunately, Be Right is no more. We kind of shifted to, It's not a separate pod. It is the Be Right pod. It's called the Loop podcast now.
Got it.
And we had Patrick Harrington on this week, and I'm not just saying this because it was my podcast. He was incredible. There's nobody better at talking golf swing, the state of golf, all of that. We covered everything. He could have gone on for an hour. We let him go after 30 minutes. He was incredible. So please go listen to that.
You guys get the best run of guests. Like I'm so jealous of you all the time, but you guys have great little camaraderie and kind of poking at each other, which I always find enjoyable. You, Steven, and Alex do a great job over there. What a pleasure, man. Thank you for coming on for, I believe, the second time on Preferred Lines. It is always great to talk to you, Chris. Enjoy the game tonight. Enjoy. Giants fan?
Huge.
Enjoy the Giants just being 5-1.
Yeah.
So I was I'm in turmoil, man. This Browns team.
I saw your brownies.
I've maintained like positivity around like 1-15 teams. This team's gutless. They got no heart. I don't know if I can do it anymore. It's becoming to the point where I feel like it could be taking years off my life.
And I'll tell you what, I've already bet it. We do NFL picks on the show. I love Cleveland this week, getting a touchdown and a half, I think. Division game. I think they'll play a tough season on the line type game. They got Cincy next week, then a bye week. Deshaun's lurking. This is pretty much gut check time, or it's 2-15 time. Literally, this game.
Yeah, it's all on the line. Well, you're having a great season. Wish you the best of luck in everything that you do. Thanks for coming on, bud. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, man.
At C Powers 14. What a dude. All right. Let's talk a little quick final thoughts. So great to have him on. Was thinking about this week and wanted to just kind of put this out there. Thoughts I had a tough Saturday and Sunday. Dealing a lot at home with a 5 and a 2-year-old can really test your patience at times. And I was just found myself getting upset at things they were doing. And I really wasn't things that they were doing. It was things that I was allowing to affect me negatively and test my patience. And anyone else who's got kids this age know that this has happened, know that this is a normal thing. And I just had to kind of talk myself through it and take some time to enjoy and laugh at some of it. And not everything has to be so serious, and you have to be so instrumental and influential, and basically trying to control everything that a 5-year-old is going to do. So I was watching the Browns game. What happens when I watch the Browns game? Sometimes I use some colorful language that gets out of hand. And he heard that, right? And so he said something later. We were talking about, we were riding back from the store, and I was talking about Captain Planet, and he was like, I don't want to hear about fucking Captain Planet. And I'm like, what? I got so mad. Dude threatened to like wash his mouth out with soap. I'm furious. I'm like, you cannot use those words. That is not for a 5-year-old. So then I'm putting him to bed. I've had it for the day, right? And he's like, Pop, I'm going to tell you the 3 words that I'm going to say them to you, but I know that you can't say them. But I'm going to say them just so you understand that I know the 3 words you can't say. I'm like, okay, what are the 3 words? He's like, stupid. I'm like, yes, you do not call your sister stupid. I get very upset with that. He's like, the other one is poop, because his teacher hates me. He says, I'm like, you could say poop. Just don't say it in school. You could say poop, though. I'm not going to get mad at you about poop. He's like, and the third one is fucking. And I lost it. I told my wife. I started cracking up. And I'm like, dude, you cannot say that. And I think he just hears me yell at the Browns too much, but it was like a moment that I think that I needed, and to just understand that they're kids and they're here to frustrate you, and just enjoy the moments and stop trying to be so correct and everything. And if they make mistakes here and there, work with them. So anyone who's out there that got kids, I just wanted to kind of share that moment that I thought was pretty funny from my son, who's the best in the world. Thank you all. You're the best in the world. If you think this podcast is any good, go ahead and give it a like and a subscribe. Trying to get the YouTube profile up. If you can jump over there to the YouTube page, Dave, I see you here. Thank you for the shouts. Thank you for the comments. I know that you're saying that you're young. Get out now. You have an entire lifetime. Get out now. This is on the Browns thing. Listen, it's going to be a tough sell, Dave. I'm closer than I've ever been, though. Not there quite yet. We'll see how the rest of the season goes. I appreciate you, Dave. Anyone who's checking this thing out, subscribe to the YouTube page. This was Preferred Lines. Enjoy the Congaree. Hope you hit a winner. Peace out, gang.